Mm-mm-mm. Bad, 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 bad. I don't even have a good intro. I don't have anything witty to say today. I don't have anything that's just like, you know what, dang on it. I don't have nothing. I don't have nothing today. The Bengals, oh my goodness, they took it. That's the thing. The Bengals, the one thing about the Bengals, I know for a darn fact, they have been waiting years to get a win on the Ravens like that. But, on the bright side, the last time the Ravens got, speaking of Raven, the last time the Ravens got blown out by a team from Ohio that just happened to be in the division, it was a good season. I'll just put it to you that way, and this one could be better. Welcome in to the Instant Classic Wrestling Podcast, the only podcast that is always, I mean always, he means always, they mean always, you mean always, she means always, an instant classic.
Danny Dunn! Hi, Jake.
We will see you on the flippity dippity. Oh yeah.
All right, what's going on, good people? Sorry, last week I did not get a chance to do a Ravens recap with the Chargers game. I will give my thoughts so I can at least go back to a positive note before I get onto this negative note of what happened today. I don't know. I must also, I got to point this out as well. I got to stop watching Ravens games with friends, because every time I watch a Ravens game with a friend or family or something, like in the same room, just doesn't, especially if they're paying attention to the game. But anyway, rough day. Real quick, when it comes to the Chargers, I didn't get a chance to do a Ravens recap last week, but my thoughts on the Chargers game, just really quickly, really brief. I thought it was a good overall win. And even I was going to even say this in that video before, if the Ravens play like that every week, there's no telling who they could beat. I thought it was a real statement win for the Ravens, but at the same time, I felt like it proved that the Ravens could play with any team and beat any team. And then they went and did this today against the Bengals. And I was excited for this game because, it's the division rivalry and the Bengals are looking good. You're thinking, are the Bengals for real? Are they really this, good team? Or are they kind of like, are they good or are they kind of up and coming? And even I didn't get a chance to do a preview this week either, but even because the week just kind of got away from me, but even with the dang on preview, I was thinking, and I said it in the Baltimore Colts show during the weekly picks, I'm like, I think this is a game to kind of show, like, is this is this team really good, or are they kind of, on the precipice of being good, right? Is it like the Chargers of last year where they're good, but, are they going to be able to kind of get over the hump? And I mean, to come into Baltimore and play the way they did today, I think is a testament to how good the Bengals are and can be for the future as well. But just a tough game overall. I watched all of it, and it was frustrating. Let's start with the obvious elephant in the room, and that's called the defense at this point. First off, the tackling was absolutely horrible. And the issue with that is I just watched Jose Verduzco, formerly previously known as Joe Nubo at one point. I was watching his video, and he was like, 7 weeks. The tackling has been horrible. And I was thinking, yeah, he's right. But it's been way longer than 7 weeks. It's been like, and I don't want to say 7 years. It ain't been that long. But like the tackling's been horrible for quite some time, for a long time for the Ravens. And the crazy part is the tackling's horrible from Patrick Queen, who's a starter, number one. The tackling's horrible for Marlon Humphrey, who is one of the more physical, the Marlowe punch and all of that. Like that was because he was physical and he would come and, break you down and all that. Tackling was terrible, but it's weird. It's almost weird too, because it's the Bengals, right? And if anybody has watched the Bengals play the Ravens over the past couple of years, underdogs or anything like that, no matter what the situation is, the Bengals, number one, always play the Ravens tough every single time. And number two, the Ravens can't tackle Bengals receivers ever in life. I don't know what it is. It don't matter how good or supposedly good the Ravens defense is. They can never tackle Bengals players ever. I don't know what it is. Real quick, in terms of in terms of overall defense, I knew Rail was going to come by. It always tends to come by during these particular points. What's up, Rail? Appreciate you coming by. Yeah, tough one. Who they going to beat them Bengals? I don't know. They're looking pretty good, and I feel like the Bengals have been in a lot of toss-up games too this year, where it's like they could easily probably be undefeated in some of their games, and they just some of them they didn't. They end up just losing, like a young team would lose or something, but. For me, in this game, first off, I don't think it was great overall in general, but more so the defense was, I think, the most frustrating part of the game because they couldn't tackle. It's like it's not even the talent. Like it's not like I'm sitting here like, dang, like that 4-string linebacker, I tell you, couldn't tackle it. No, like that 4-string corner couldn't tackle it. Like it's just like tackling is one of the first things you learn when you play football, and it's like why. Just wrap them up, and I know it's like pretty and fancy and highlighty. It's not a word, but it's very highlighty to feel like got to go for the big hit, got to go for the fumble and all that. But if you're not making the tackle initially, there's no point in going for the fumble. And we've seen this time and time again. Like especially over the past couple of years, you can go back, especially when you look at this year and last year. Tackling's been horrible all throughout the season this year, but then. When it came to the year before, we saw it with the Titans in the playoff game. I'm pretty sure the Titans, even in the regular season last year, if I'm not mistaken, we saw bad tackling against Derrick Henry and all that, and then you see bad tackling with the Chiefs and all of these games. But it was one of those games where it's like a frustrating game, but at the same time, it was like it's always hard to harp on one game. I think unless it comes down to like the playoffs or something where it's literally or like seasons on the line, like at the end of the day, this game's going to mean something, but at the same time, it's not going to mean nearly as much as a game in 3, 4, 6 weeks is going to mean. The Chargers had a letdown. It was the Ravens' turn. I guess so. But the Ravens, they do this every year. There's always at least one game where they just don't play up to par. And they've had some games this year where I don't feel like they've been playing consistently, or they found a way. And, even Rail had pointed out before where they just found a way to win. And sometimes that catches up with you. When you're by hook or by crook, sometimes that hook slips on you, and you're going down. So I mean, for me, it's to be expected to have a game where it's going to be a little rough sometimes. I mean, the Packers got blown out in week 1. Of course, the Chiefs got blown out today by the Titans. And I mean, everybody has a blowout game at least one a season all the time. It always tends to happen to every team, especially the better teams. And at some point, you're going to have kind of a letdown type of a game. But if you were going to tell me this team was going to be 5-2, I was going to be surprised. I mean, considering coming in, losing all those running backs we lost to begin the season, when the main key to the offense is running the ball, I was going to be a little surprised, because that's just crucial to the offense. And then not having your top receiver. Of course, we lost Sammy Watkins 2 weeks ago now. Losing offensive linemen, losing Marcus Peters, all these losing LJ Ford, all these big losses. I was gonna, I'm not saying I expected it to be worse than what it was, but like, given the losses that have happened on the team in terms of injuries, in terms of the Ravens really need a chance to kind of sit down for a minute and have a bye week per se and get healthy, kind of like Rail was saying. Like, they kind of need that opportunity to sit down and just be a little bit, get healthy, because they've been blown away by injuries all year long and found a way to win the games, which I think is a testament to how good the team can be. But at the same time, I'm still good with 5-2, right? There's teams that's been, enamored by injuries this year, and they're sitting at, 500 or they're sitting below 500 or whatever. So, I'll take it for the time being going into week 8 bye week. But for me, defensively, I think it's just gotta go back to the fundamentals. This has been an issue for for the Ravens for years tackling. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. I don't know why they can't tackle. I don't know if they're trying to be too pretty. They're trying to be too fancy. They're going for the kill shot. I don't know. But some of it's got to be like, situational. Just make the tackle, right? Make the tackle. And even today with Jamar Chase having, 200 yards receiving, today was one of those games where it's like, number one, if you tackle them, the big plays are pretty much gone. But at the same time, too, sometimes I feel like, especially as of late, the Ravens have been giving up these big plays that in years past they weren't really giving up. And that was like a key to their defense in the years past. I've heard a lot of credit given to the Ravens defense in terms of because of how they played last week against the Chargers. But I think the last week against the Chargers for this year's defense, the way they're built right now, was kind of an anomaly in a way. It was an outlier to me because when I watch the Ravens defense, they're not good. They weren't good against the Raiders. They weren't good against the Chiefs. They made some plays against the Chiefs to win the game, but they weren't necessarily good. They weren't good against the Colts. They made some plays that made it seem like it was a better game than what it was. They made plays when they needed to make plays, but I'm not going to sit here and say this Ravens defense is good. They're 18th in the league, and I will be fine with 18th in the league if it felt like they were making crucial plays when they needed to. They're not. Today was one of those games where supposedly the Bengals offensive line is supposed to be not top in the NFL, and I don't know how many sacks it was. It may have been just one. I remember one at least. But I'm sitting here thinking, why can't you get to him? They got to him early in the game, but then it seems like at halftime or after that first quarter, I don't know if the offensive line starts shifting a little bit differently or the quarterback starts seeing something with them or whatever, or if there's, I don't know what it is. If Justin Metabike is blowing up the line, or if it's Adafe Owe blowing up the line, which I did hear he was rushing from the inside, which is something weird, but I don't know. I think defensively in terms of improvements, and I've talked about this before, but you kind of got to put your guys in positions to win. You've lost Marcus Peters, which is huge, right? That's a guy who can take somebody out of the game, and then you got Marlon who can take somebody out of the game as well. You just need a good slot, and then they got Tavion Young with as your slot corner, but now missing Marcus Peters. I think you got to be okay with playing a little bit more conservative. That doesn't mean you can't get in the face of the receivers, but I'm saying, why don't you, settle down on the blitzing? Because here's the thing: if they were blitzing and it was getting home, I don't know what the analytics is. Maybe there's better analytics than it looks like on the field. But if they were blitzing and they were actually getting home, I would be all like, okay, cool. The blitz makes sense. I think situational blitzing is great. But I think sometimes Wink leans so much on the blitz to make up for the fact that there's no pass rush and there hasn't been for 2 years. And it seems like that's one of the bigger issues. You're putting these guys who are in inexperienced positions. Tavion Young hasn't played a full season in 2 years, right? You're putting these guys, and I can't even. I mean, Jimmy Smith, who also hasn't played a whole season in 2 years either, right? And he's getting older and slower. Is one of the bigger issues too. So it's like you got these guys who either have been there before or haven't really been there consistently, having to play these big downs and big drives. And this is not what they were playing before. So make sure if you're Wink, you're a good coordinator, put them in the proper positions to be great in this defense. Sometimes you got to stop being so aggressive all the time so you can, make some things work. Cause I think we can make this defense definitely look good. I don't think the defense they played last week against the Chargers was a bad, was like just a bad game from the Chargers. I think it was also good play calling by Wink too. So it's like, look at that, see what you're doing right. See what you're doing right when you're turning Patrick Mahomes over, or these guys who don't usually turn the ball over. See what you're doing right and try to fix that. Yeah, I agree with the comment that Rail had left before. They got to clean up some stuff and get healthy. Yeah, and some of it, like I was just saying, like it's just fundamental stuff. It's literally stuff that how to do it, but then sometimes you get a little lackluster in certain ways, and you stop doing what the necessary things that you need to do. Offensively, it's okay. is okay. The play to Hollywood was good, and they had some moments, but it felt like they were a little off today. They were a little out of sync. They were kind of I don't know if I would even say they were going through the motions, but they just weren't. It just didn't seem like it was all there today for some reason. Bateman I thought looked pretty good. I felt like Lamar was pressing at times, which does happen when he gets down. But I think at the same time, like I think the offensive line is starting to get in Lamar's head a little bit at times too. Like there's these games where they're getting either instant pressure or they're sacking him, so he gets a little antsy just because he's like, I got to make a play. The offensive line's not blocking for me. I got to make a play, and that's been pretty much all year. That's been pretty much since he took over, especially since 2019, when he had like the full off season and all that to kind of get everything situated. He's been moving around in the pocket so well, and he's so elusive that I think it makes the offensive line look far better than I think it actually is. And some of the sacks today, and I listened to another, I think it was 410 Sports Talk, I think I was listening to earlier. They were kind of talking about how like some of the sacks were coverage sacks. Some of the sacks were just there's nobody, either there's nobody open or Lamar's not finding them. And I like to more so believe that either there was nobody open or Lamar's trying to slide, and the defensive line did a great job of shedding to the proper area to not allow him to run either, which I think was key for the Bengals to win in the way they did. Not because sometimes it's like Lamar makes just some sort of magical play happen, and then it just puts them in a better position than what they would have been, of course, if kind of like today if he had gotten sacked. But offensively, it was just okay. And I get it. Chemistry still being built, especially with Rashad Bateman and stuff like that. And I still think too, like chemistry still being built with guys like Prochet and Duvernay, because last year it felt like Prochet and Duvernay it felt like last year Duvernay was out there a little bit more, and he was trying to find his rhythm. And then this year it felt like Prochet, although it hasn't been out there much, Prochet was out there more. Has been more so out there, offensively. So it's kind of weird. I don't. That's kind of one of those things where I'm like, coaching and personnel. Why do you have guys on the team if you're not going to use them? Prochet can catch probably anything you throw at him. You even put him on punts to make sure that you get a successful fair catch. That's how good his hands are. So why are you not putting him out there more? Is he not getting open? I don't know. Like I said, I'd have to watch an all 22 to truly understand sometimes with this offense what's going on. Bateman I thought looked good. He had some good little yards after the catch type things. I want to see more and this is kind of like sometimes what surprises me too is the Ravens number one never run screens, which doesn't surprise me at all because they haven't for years. But they never run screens. But at the same time, they don't run any like short plays. It feels like they're always trying to get especially when they get down, they're trying to attack down the field. And of course, the Bengals aren't going to let you attack them down the field because easy, for it to be an easy touchdown like that, that's you know what I mean. That's not the way you want to let. If you're going to get in the game, I'm gonna let you get in the game, 10 by 10, 5 by 5. Like I'm gonna let you get in the game slowly but surely, not because of a big play, especially after the Hollywood throw. So I wonder if they were sending Hollywood down the field or whatever, and that's what they were trying to do. I don't know. The run game I thought was not great at all. I think I had talked about it. Was it after the Lions game? I think it was after the Lions game. Or was it the Broncos game? It was one of those two. The Lions game or the Broncos game. When I was sitting here, I was like, Tyson Williams needs to be activated yesterday. And then they activated him, and then they don't run him. I still, and I could be wrong about this, behind Lamar Jackson in terms of, so I guess when you put it in the forms of the running backs in the room, so Devontae Freeman, Tyson Williams, Le'Veon Bell, and those guys, like Latavius Murray. I think Latavius probably has the most touchdowns, but Tyson Williams has the most yards and the most yards per carry, but he's not on the field. I'll never understand it. I've been wondering it for weeks. He's probably the guy with the most burst, but he's not on the field. I don't get it. In terms of the buy, in terms of trade targets, I don't know what the Ravens are going to do. They lost some key running backs in the offseason or right before the season started, I should say. You lose JK, he's a huge part of that, and you're seeing it now, right? At first, it was like because my thing is I would make those guys beat you, right? Like I would never sell out to let Lamar get on the outside. I'm always gonna let I want to see, right? Like if I'm a defensive coordinator, I'm like, I want to see, can Devontae Freeman still beat me? Can Le'Veon Bell still beat me? Can Latavius Murray still beat me? And shoot, they're not even going to run their leading rusher, so I don't need to worry about Tyson Williams, right? Like that, and that's the thing. Like it's the threat of both. And losing JK, especially JK and Gus, because Justice Hill was kind of special teams, but he's been in the system, so he knows the system. But my thing is, and he's fast, he's a little bit more fast too. Like nobody really has the burst. Tyson Williams has it, but like other than that, but they don't run him, so it doesn't matter. Nobody else has the burst. So it makes me wonder, like, do they go after like a Marlon Mack or somebody like that who is still kind of young in the league and could be a good target to pick up? But then it's hard because like you just signed Gus. I mean, of course, JK is your second year guy. Next year coming back will be your third year guy, right? That you want to lean on. You don't want to trade for somebody if it's not going to be worth it, right? You don't want a 1 year Yannick Ngakoue situation where you trade for Yannick Ngakoue, but then you still don't up your sacks, right? You don't want to trade for Marlon Mack, and then it's like, well, we don't want to pay him because why would we pay him, right? Because we have JK, we have Gus. Eventually, we got to pay JK too. Eventually that's going to have to happen. So what do we do? Well, of course, we'll just keep Tyson because he played well last year. So my thing is, I would be fine with them trading for Marlon Mack as long as they can kind of get a steal for it. I don't really know in terms of other running backs who they would go for. Marlon Mack's just the one that comes to mind because he is Marlon Mack's the one that comes to mind because he asked for a trade from Indy. So it'd be interesting. I don't know. I don't know exactly what they're gonna do. I hope they figure out something to help the running backs a little bit, because I feel like Lamar's trying to do too much, and there's times when that's great, and there's other times where it's just too much on him. There's times when he's just dog tired trying to carry the team, and that's tough to do. He's kind of in that like Mahomes situation where his defense isn't bailing him out. So he kind of has to come back and make the big play. And the tough part about that is that shouldn't be how it is. He shouldn't have to make some magic happen because the defense can't cover. Figure out a way to make this defense work. You're a good enough coordinator. It's not like you don't have the talent. Tavon Young was highly drafted and highly touted. Marlon Humphrey can be one of the best corners in the league. Jimmy Smith is still good enough to figure it out. You have a good secondary. You have a pretty good defensive line that shows himself at times. You have this exotic these exotic defensive packages and defensive blitzes. You can figure it out. And I think the bye week is going to help. The bye week has always been famously good for the Ravens. They've always done a pretty good job. They got the Vikings coming out of it. And the bye week has always been good for the Ravens. It's always been something that's been needed. It tends to come at the right time, and hopefully they can get healthy, and healthy, as healthy as they can with some of the injuries that they have. I hope to see Derek Wolfe come back soon too. I don't know what the update is on him. Patrick McCarr got hurt, so he was the starting, but also backup right tackle after Villanueva moved to left after Ronnie Stanley was done for the year. So he's got an ankle injury, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So that's another injury that's like it just keeps piling up. The thing is, how long can you overcome these injuries? Can you make it work, or is it going to be kind of the detriment of you? And the Ravens have made it work so far throughout the season, and I think they can make it work. I definitely believe in the next man up philosophy, depending on who the next man is, right? But at the same time, when there's time to make moves and figure out some things to do, can you figure it out? Oh, yeah, and Anthony Averett too. I don't know why I keep forgetting about him. He played decently today. He hasn't been as good as he was before, but I think they've been picking on him a little bit more this season because, especially as of late, I think initially because Anthony Averett is usually in the area of the ball, but I think they weren't throwing his way because he was in the area, but at the same time, it felt like it was good coverage. Now they're attacking Anthony Averett a little bit more too. And the day they attacked Marlon Humphrey. So I don't know. I want to see what they do after the bye week. I want to see if they make any moves. I definitely hope they do. I don't see them going after a receiver. I don't think that's going to be the best bet because I think the receivers are playing pretty well. I still, like I said, would have to watch a little bit more. I think the receivers are playing pretty well for the most part. So, I mean, I think the best bet would be running back or O-line. I mean, O-line just because you do need a little bit more good O-line depth or a good offensive line starter would be good. I'd probably almost even take O-line over a running back. If you could get a good offensive lineman, because I mean, I don't think because Villanueva is not necessarily somebody they would keep for the long haul. I mean, the only thing that's set in stone, I think, would be left tackle and probably Bradley Bozeman, who's playing center right now. So I mean, left tackle and center. I think other than that, like Ben Powers and Ben Cleveland, they're not really like I think you could get help wherever you need it. If that makes sense. I mean, I think the best bet would probably be looking at the McCarr injury, right tackle, or either of the guards. I think either of the guards, or even I mean, if you could find like another good tackle, and you could maybe move Villanueva just because he's getting older, he's a little slower, and he's struggling with like the speed rushers and stuff like that. Move him to the inside. Maybe move him to the inside, and maybe that'll help. I don't know, but. Anyway, definitely hope you guys enjoy it as always. I think, if I'm not mistaken, next thing we'll do, I think I'm gonna get on with Justin and talk the Saudi Arabia show, Crown Jewel for WWE. So we'll talk about that for a little bit. I think we're gonna do that tonight, if I'm not mistaken. I'll probably come back with him, even if it's not just us three. I know it'll be us too. We'll probably talk about Bound for Glory probably tomorrow on Monday, just depending on when you're listening to this, but. Hope you guys enjoyed. As always, give us a like if you haven't already. And make sure to like the page or subscribe wherever you're watching, listening, however it may be. Appreciate everybody for coming by. We'll see you guys on the next one. Until next time. Baltimore Colts show coming up Tuesday, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So the weekly picks will come in on Tuesday. And then other than that, I don't know what else is coming up besides the 2 reviews I just talked about. But hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys next time. Until that one, we'll see you.